28th of January 2025. And item 1, apologies for absence. Do we have any?
We have apologies from Councillors Gavishak and Williams.
Okay. Declarations of interest, item number 2. Do we have any declarations of interest on items on the agenda? Oh. Item number 3, public participation. Any members of the public like to ask a question? You can sit down.
When you come to item 9, onslaught, would you be kind enough to make reference to the discussion which I think was had by Mr. Jeff Probert recently in one of your meetings, where he outlined his findings, shall we say, on the EA's various reports, which suggested that there have been contradictions and a little bit of prevarication at the very least, so that the press can get another chance to stick it all in the label.
Yes, I'm in at full council. You're right. So
that's where it was. I know I read of it.
Jeff Probert did come to full council. He clearly researched.
Meeting with the mayor to discuss the matter.
The mayor is planning to meet with Jeff.
Not yet. Okay.
He hasn't yet.
Unfortunately, my diary is somewhat busy.
But if we could, a couple of words to cover that, where we reach item 9 would be.
Yes, can I let the mayor respond? This is one of his particular special interests.
Yes, as the Marshlock Bridge is a matter of some importance and interest to me, and I really did appreciate Mr. Probert's comments, and I look forward to meeting with him. Tonight we are mainly looking at various potential legal actions that we could take under the Highways Act. And should that go through tonight, which I very much hope it does, but I won't speak for the rest of the committee, then the meeting with Jeff will have even more importance because it will feed into our overall strategy for that. So I will hopefully get a meeting in the diary with him before we have the next finance meeting in the next cycle, which I believe will be mid to late Feb.
It should be 6 weeks from now.
It's 4th of March.
4th of March, so I'll aim to meet with him well before the 4th of March.
Okay, thanks. This is an important matter for the town and this town council, and we continue to be. We anticipate that at some point it will reopen. We're disappointed it's making what appears to be no progress at the moment, and we'll be pressing to try and get someone to take responsibility and someone to actually repair the bridge and open the footpath in the way that it should be. So thank you for your question. Are there any other members of the public who want to speak? Okay, looks like we're done on that. Item number 4, minutes. To approve the draft minutes of the meeting held on the 3rd of December. Any questions for that? Is that proposal to seconder? Tony. All those in favour? Right, thank you. To note the draft notes of the 357 Working Group Committee and approve any recommendations therein. And the Deputy Clerk is sitting in the audience and can answer any questions if you do have them. Otherwise, can I have a proposal that we minutes?
Yeah, things we were both there.
Okay. Seconder? Councillor Thomas, all those in favour? Thank you. Item number 5, finance. To receive the management accounts, investment performance, bank reconciliations and summary of payments to the end of December 2024. Are there any questions or points that councillors wish to make? I was going to note that we remain pretty well on budget. If I let's turn to the right page. So yes, we are budgeting for 125,000 surplus, and we're 6,000 below that. So we're fairly close, which I think shows that. Should say something, including the accuracy of our budgets, and it's good that we can predict, although there are always swings and roundabouts when it comes to budgets. But we're on target for the year and to be very close to the budget. Are there any other comments that you wish to make? I have a proposal that we accept those en bloc, please.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favour? All right, thank you.
Just call out that on page 12, so the deputy major chain. I suppose the deputy mayor's chain, but I'm quite happily referred to as the deputy major.
Deputy major. Sounds very Gilson Sullivan-ish. It's the very important.
I want to congratulate the officers on our wedding income has doubled. which has been, as you pointed out to me earlier in the week, which is a fantastic achievement and shows that our strategies are working.
And that Daisy's done a good job.
Exactly.
That's what I meant by the officers.
Just want to be specific.
Yes, that was a particular, we authorised the communications manager to work an extra day, and she produced a clear set of objectives, and one of those was to market the weddings more effectively. And yeah, that has been successful, and therefore we've improved the use of the town hall, and we've also improved our income position.
It is a beautiful place to get married, though, isn't it, don't you think?
This was.
It is a beautiful place to get married.
Best place in the country.
I mean,
I'm not going to comment on that.
when you're sometimes walking in town on Saturday and you see that every couple and all of their family and friends around them on the steps with their photographs done. It's a lovely picture.
Oh, you're such a romantic, Councillor Thomas.
If I ever have to get married again, I'm quite happy to do that.
Okay. Moving on, item number 6, expenditure to approve 7,000 from SIL for legal fees for the 3G pitch. And there is a report attached on page 65. This is a requirement from the Football Foundation in order to secure the grant and the installation of the 3G pitch. Anybody got questions for the town clerk? The deputy town clerk could answer. Okay, is that proposal to approve?
Contracts.
Can I have a seconder for that, please? Okay, all those in favour? Thank you. And do we have a start date for that to go in yet?
Sorry.
Do we have a start date for the 3G pitch?
We're looking at the 17th of March,
Right, okay.
but we haven't signed the contract yet, so it is subject.
Yeah, but we have a date.
But
And,
that's what we're looking at.
yeah. Well, this would be a great step forward for the town. This much needed facility. But football is popular and successful, and it allows all the different groups who do play football, which are currently is not as open to everyone as we'd like it to be because of the 24-hour nature of a 3G pitch. Item number 7, we've effectively dealt with item number 7 by virtue of we've talked to the investment managers, and we are, and so we have effectively started the 5-year review, as in the investment policy, which is another part of it to be discussed in item 8. And it's important that we do review the way our assets are managed. It's an important part of making sure the finances of the town council are run well, in the interests of sustainability and the residents. And so what I would like to do is appoint, we've agreed that with the investment managers that we will meet them again to again review what it is that they do and other options that we have before we decide to what extent we may change our investment policy and the investment managers that we currently have working for us. So I'd like to appoint a working group of councillors to deal with this matter, about 3 or 4. How many do we feel it would be appropriate? Let's see who wants to do it first. So let's agree that we are going to do that. Let's vote through the establishment of a working group to review the investment managers, as in our investment policy. So I propose that we do appoint that working group. Seconder? Okay. All those in favour of that proposal? Okay. Who would like to serve on that group? Lots of hands going, yeah. So I suggest we appoint 4 councillors. I'd like to be on that as well. So Councillor Hoskins, Councillor Plant, Mayor, and myself. No one else? That's what to do. You sounded very authoritative earlier.
I am more than happy to leave this to people who have started.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay, sit on the sidelines and go, like, what would you like to do?
I
Okay.
mean, as long as it comes back to the committee?
It'll be a working group that reports back with recommendations. And I imagine this will not be a short-lived task. As you yourself pointed out earlier, this may not be the best time to make significant changes in our strategy. We may stretch it out over and defer any change we want to make for a year. But that's for the group, and then to report back to this committee with recommendations.
You were having been on group other than
Yes, I think that does make sense. I haven't asked him if he's prepared to serve, but Ian Hunt, the Mayor's father and Mayor's escort, is a subject expert in this matter. He's knowledgeable, and he's been talking with me and the Mayor about these matters, and I'd like to have him on the working group as well. That isn't right. Okay.
Absolutely fine.
We'll check with the town clerk before you say something improper. Okay. So I'd like to appoint those 5 people to the working group. Okay. All's in favour? Right. Thank you. And I'd like on the investment policy and the asset management policy. Well, let's do the investment policy first. This is as we have originally approved in 2023, and it is due to be reviewed. Rather than go to this by detail, I suggest we do 2 things. One is if there are any details that we do want to change, that we consider those and produce a specific wording of those change clauses to either full council or the next meeting of this committee. I'm not a great believer in drafting policies by committee.
Question, does this policy exist already?
Yes, yeah.
Are we simply reviewing, or are there proposals for change?
There are no proposals to change that have been specifically made, and I think we may review the. I saw the town clerk taking careful notes of the discussion with the investment managers, and if there are any that we really should do immediately, then I didn't notice anything that would came to the category, but we may want to think about that, and we can take those to full council. It's just we defer 8A.
I would suggest, given the working group being set up for the 5-year review, it would make sense to undertake that review and then amend the policy following that review.
Yeah, I completely agree. But I was suggesting a 2-phase review. If there is anything immediately we need to change, we can do that in the next few weeks. I don't think there is. I looked through it. I didn't see anything specific.
The only one I'd suggest changing was the 45% mandate on sterling assets, as both managers seem to agree that it's restricted at the moment.
There are 2 different viewpoints altogether. One has always said that it's not restrictive because you can trade in GB pound based funds, which is their answer when we asked that question at the last time that they had this review. I do agree that the other said, yes, Charles did obviously say that it was restrictive. But again, I think if we're undertaking a review, we do it as part of that process rather than do it now. It seems completely counterintuitive to have a quick review now and then start to work.
I think a full review, but perhaps it should be covered by the same committee.
Yes, completely agree.
Have it just instead of calling it.
We refer it to the working group.
Exactly that.
Yeah. Okay. So that's 8A, which is, as you said, it is an existing policy which has basically been written in. The asset management policy is different in that it's newly written, and I think that the Mayor has a few comments on that. And I say I prefer to take those, not approve them now. But I think can you give an indication of the sort of things that you were they tweaking, or were they fairly structural?
I did have a concern about particularly IT assets not being registered due to them being under £1,000 unless they were considered grouped assets.
Mm-hmm.
Under this, we have a separate register to ensure that if laptops, for instance, if someone leaves, to make sure that we have a register where a laptop, just an example, has been returned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the difficulty that we have is that we have so many individual items, and we don't actually have a consistent policy on how we are valuing those. For example, if we have 300 chairs, if you buy one more chair, it's how many chairs do you need to buy, and are they grouped together, or do you take each individually? With IT, that's of particular note, because buying one individual laptop would not reach the threshold, but if you're buying 4, for example, then it would.
It was only IT I had concerns about, with the exception of things like paintings and things that might fall underwards, because they might fall under the £1 notional price, but they're obviously just quite great value.
Indeed, we would consider those they would be community assets often, although we do have only separate fine art and regalia valuations. This policy is mainly for the recording on. It's more for the financial recording of assets rather than the practical. It is used for the practical purposes of monitoring those assets and making sure we still have those, but it is predominantly for the financial purposes and for our reporting, especially in external audit.
Yeah, because for example, for laptops, we do have a register outside.
That's
the
what I was
fixed
checking.
Register,
Yeah.
and they are because they are also maintained, so they're part of they are part of the IT maintenance contract. But to give you an example, I think we even have an asset, a register, nothing to do with the fixed assets register of mobile phones, and they are very small value mobile phones, old ones. So.
Okay. Yeah, so I suggest you continue, and the amended documents, which you can agree with the town clerk, can come to the next meeting of this committee or to full council. I don't mind which. Okay, item number 9, Marsh Lock Footbridge. Now we have a report here from the town clerk, which town clerk, maybe it's best that if you say anything you want to say about this. I think there may be that the mayor wishes to amend this slightly, but let's let you give anything you want to say as a covering note that you'd like to make clear to the meeting.
I don't really have much to add to the report. I don't think anything has materially changed since that time. However, it is what I would say is that my information and the information report may not be complete. I don't have access to all the information the Environment Agency and Oxfordshire County Council do. So,
which is to some extent what we're trying to do here,
yes,
which is to press them to make clear the legal and position on the bridge itself and whose responsibility it is to repair it. So, Mr. May, did you have something yours to say about
Yes,
this?
well, I think I'll just start by making the amendment to the proposal, and then we can debate that. So I'd like to propose that we accept the proposal with the amendments that, as well as Oxfordshire County Council, we also set such letters on the CEO of the Environment Agency and the Secretary of State for the Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. That way we should cover all bases of people who are in a position to be legal position to be liable for maintaining the bridge, and also to accept whether or not this is a public right of way. OCC is the Highways Authority, but they are unlikely, as the report says, to be liable for the bridge. The legislation refers to a person being liable to maintain, but in civil service and legal terms, the Secretary of State is likely to be that person, but it may be seen to be the CEO of the EA. Therefore, I propose we serve it on all three and start this process where hopefully we will start to get to a point where we get a deadline to reopen the bridge.
Yeah, I'd like to second that proposal. Councillor Hoskin, did you?
Could you actually copy all three so they know who receiving it?
You could do. I'm not sure that's necessarily.
Well, I think if you're going to go the Secretary of State, yeah.
I would certainly copy the EA and the Secretary of State in on the same letter.
Yeah.
I think that could cause something. It could be rather helpful.
Yeah, I think that's a perfectly sensible suggestion. And this is just simply the next step in where the struggle is going for us to have this facility reopened 2.5, 3 years after it was closed, with still no sign of the footpath becoming available. And this probably won't be the last time it comes in front of this committee, this issue. And but I hope that in not too long a period of time, the bridge will be reopened, and we can move on to something else. But at the moment, we're getting nowhere. And I think it's important that this council sort of continues to indicate to the community, to the residents, to the walkers of the town, that we do not think the current lack of activity is acceptable, and that the organisations really must step up and decide who is responsible and go ahead and carry out the repairs.
I'd also just like to add, this is not the first action this committee has taken. We have tried to engage with the Environment Agency, their local managers. We've tried to work with the local landowners who originally provided a diversion. We passed the motion of no confidence in the EA. We have called them out on this. We've tried to engage them in every possible way. So this is not a reaction. This is something that we have been taken to by the inaction from the Environment Agency up to this point.
That's right. Well, we shouldn't be in this point having to do this, but we are, and I think we're being responsible and reflecting the wishes of the community. This is a major issue. It's been covered in the media. It's been talked about in the town, and I think it's an important part of representing the wishes of residents.
As shown by Mr. Probert at the full council meeting.
Yes.
I think the EA have not exactly been forthcoming with information either, and we're lucky to have Mr. Probert and others bringing forward information on this. And I'm at a loss now, without this sort of action, how we will get to a conclusion.
Okay. Is everyone okay with? Sorry.
I'm fine with the proposal. I was concerned that the initial repairs, detailed surveys above and below water level in April 23 suggested it was £46,500, and suddenly when they couldn't figure out who owned it, the bill jumped to 1.3 million. And I'm really concerned that this is a money gathering opportunity, and I'm trying to understand where that's come from. So I'd like, the fact that ownership is one thing, but I'd like to also understand how this sum has jumped by a factor of 26.
And Jeff Probert did identify a number of reports which contained what he regarded as conflicting or inaccurate information, which I think it's important that the facts are put into the public domain by the body responsible.
Yeah.
So, and I'd like to thank Mr. Probert for his contributions, and I look forward to the mayor meeting with him to go into the further details, so we're as fully informed as we can be. Right, are we ready to vote on that proposal? Okay. All's in favour?
Councillor Palmer wants to.
Oh, sorry, was an attempt to speak?
Yeah, the wording of 5.1 is fairly specific towards OCC. So are we recommending that we send the exact same to the EA and the Secretary of State? Because that would seem, why? Just to let them know that we're doing the same. I agree with the sentiment, but do we not need a slightly different wording to each individual? Otherwise, we're letting the EA know that we're trying to pursue OCC, which gives them the opportunity to be like, we'd rather go down that route, we'd actually rather see it pinned on OCC. So I would just say that rather than the same wording, a slightly different wording to each of the individuals, rather than 5.1 sent to all three. It seems.
The questions are to be asked are specified by the Act. So we have to send very, very similar wording to each in order to...
Similar but not identical.
Doesn't have to be identical, but the two questions do have to be.
The question is, is it a public right of way? Is it who is liable for the repair? Is it repairable at public cost? And who is liable?
I agree. The tactic on 5.1 is that if we can get OCC to admit that it is a highway, then we know that they have responsibilities to maintain such. I don't think there's any question that the EA know that it is a right of access.
And for what it's worth, I believe the Henley Society have already asked something very similar, which may even be a similar request under the Act. So we have, again, more local support on this, and we're grateful for it.
No, I don't question that.
Yeah, the Henley Society...
It was just the wording more than anything else.
Yeah, we'll need to take care that the wording is correct.
Yeah.
And, we should congratulate the Henley Society and thank them for taking an interest and raising the issue. That's it it is useful to have as many organisations as possible expressing their concerns.
Yeah, a good petition going around as well.
Okay, all those in favour of that proposal? Thank you. Right, Footbridge. And,
Highlands Park.
Highlands Park Community Building. Right, this council, we held an informal meeting, I think it was, to determine that we were going to consider, our involvement in this community building at Highlands Park, and we now want to consider the report, and there is a recommendation on page 125.
122.
122. Yeah, okay. Which is that we establish a working group to consider to investigate the transfers and those community facilities. Anyone would like to speak to this?
I think it makes complete sense. I was written in 5.1, just mentioning Michelle, it's disappointing how few people respond to these questionnaires each time, but I think, going through the summary is as we would expect anyway, even with the small sample group that actually did respond. I think the recommendation hits the nail on the
Okay, you want to happy to propose that?
head. Yeah, sorry.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a seconder from me. Shall we, and there are terms of reference, the terms of reference, happy to make that as part of the proposal.
Yep.
And we will need to appoint 4 councillors, I think.
At least 4.
At least 4, to work on this. Do we have, will an officer be part of it?
Yes, indeed. Yes, I'd be certainly on the working group.
Yeah, okay.
I would say I believe Councillor Jackson has expressed an interest in it.
That's good.
That's good, yeah. Okay, so we will do that separately, appointing the membership. So we have a proposal to, that's 5 point, that we propose second 5.1. All those in favour of that proposal? And who would like to sit on this committee? Mr. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and Councillor Jackson.
Councillor Plant.
Okay. Short of sitting on my hands.
As proposer, I find it difficult to believe that you can't actually join the committee you proposed. I think you belong in that, you proposed it.
I think he's definitely.
Yes, Lawrence, I think you have to.
Sorry, Councillor Thomas.
I'm just wondering if any of the councillors who sit on town community or RNA would like to. join.
Yeah, I'd like to give them the opportunity.
Open it out to them as well.
Yes, maybe we should defer the membership to full council.
Well,
Yeah.
we can make that a recommendation to full council rather than a resolved item, and then full council will have the opportunity to appoint others. I did ask if anyone wanted to be. I haven't had any replies to that yet, but
I don't remember seeing that, so they may have missed it as well.
yeah, okay. So yes, we'll make it a recommendation, and then full council can add any additional members. So can we vote on that group of? Is it was it Councillor Plant, Councillor?
Buckley, Councillor Hunt, Councillor Jackson.
Councillor Jackson, yeah, those 4. Okay, so we recommend that those 4 are considered full council. All those in favour? Thank you. And that's it, you've done, Lawrence. Okay, exclusion of public and press. We now move on to item 11. I've got to slow down now. So,
Yeah, I know, twice in one night.
Thanks.
so I've proposed the public and press be excluded of the remainder of the meeting in accordance with the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1960, as publicity would be prejudicial to the public interest. By reason of the confidential nature of the business, I so move. All those in favour? Right, thank you.